And now a ghost story for the ladies. In Brighton's famous lanes you will find a little passageway called Black Lion Lane. Halfway down are three little cottages said to be some of the oldest in the city. It is there where our amorous friend is said to linger. A lady artist once lived in one of the cottages, and it was she who spoke of some rather shocking goings-on when a lady friend came to stay. I have to say her friend felt nothing sinister about the cottage, and had a very pleasant evening in the company of her host before retiring to her room, where she soon nodded off into a blissful sleep, but awoke in the night feeling curiously disorientated. Her room appeared to be rocking. Then, to her horror, realized it was her bed that was shaking. Now fully conscious, the poor woman sat up, clutching at the bed sheets, which were suddenly torn from her grasp. Fear held her in its grip, and although wishing to flee the room, felt herself restrained by an oppressive weight bearing down on her, and of something breathing heavily into her face. But that was nothing compared to what happened later that same year, when a young lady guest from France came to stay at the cottage. Like the previous guest, she felt nothing foreboding about the place, and was looking forward to her stopover in Brighton's most celebrated quarter. Her mood was about to change. As with the previous guest, she retired to the little room, and soon fell into a blissful sleep, but awoke in the night to the sound of a man's voice mumbling below stairs. The mumblings were then replaced by the sound of lumbering footsteps ascending the stairs. They paused momentarily on the landing before entering her room, and bringing with them an extreme drop in temperature. She then noticed one side of her bed begin to sag, as if someone was stretching out beside her, and felt the cold chill of spectral hands begin caressing her thigh. Well, one may jest and say an hour or so later, rather exhausted, but with a smile on her face, but that wasn't the case. The poor woman sat frozen with fear, but eventually managed to free herself from the spectre's grasp, leapt from the bed, switched on the light. In that instant, warm air had begun to fill the room. Her spectral bedfellow had gone. But apart from all these shocking goings-on, he never once tried to molest the lady of the house, who claimed to be a bit psychic. So maybe he thought if he tried putting his grubby spectral mitts on her, she would exorcise his spirit, and so he kept them to himself. However, she did always feel the little cottage had once belonged to an old sea captain. She would frequently sense him coming into her sitting room and making himself comfortable in an old armchair, which for some inexplicable reason would start to creak, as if someone were settling into it. Well, ladies, you know what sailors are. Naughty boys.